Hello everybody, this is Extreme Nick 09, and now I'm going to get into my my experience meeting Jeff Hardy video. And I do this with like every wrestler I've met. Nikita Koloff and Lex Luger. I did it for CM Punk. I did it for Mick Foley. But none of those really stand up to what this meant to me. Going on with the overall experience, you pay $20 to get to walk in, and you buy this action figure, which is a sweet action figure. I was going to make him sign a really crappy poster I had because I just could not think of what to get him to sign. We got to buy this awesome action figure for $20 and get him to sign really big right there. And also, he signed anything else you wanted him to sign. And I'll get to the other things he signed in a minute. But this is why it was so important to me, and I know a lot of people are against Jeff Hardy now, and I know a lot of people don't like him as much as they did or as they once had. But 1999 is when I began to watch professional wrestling. I had watched it in 1998 with my father, and my favorite wrestler was Stone Cold Steve Austin. 1999, I saw Jeff Hardy for the first time, and he stood out. He was different. He was himself. And that's always something that I've loved. You know, even growing up as a kid, I wore huge wrestling shirts to school every day. I didn't care what people thought about me, and that's the same way I thought Jeff's overall attitude was. He was himself 100% of the time, and he always has been, always will be. Didn't care what anybody else thought of him. And really is an inspiration to become yourself and not, you know, twist and turn to what the world wants you to become, because that's what a lot of people do in this world now. You know, you start buying these different kind of clothes, you start dressing a certain way for certain people to fit in, and that's something he never did. And I looked up to him ever since 1999. And honestly, this video wouldn't be being made right now. I would have never went to WrestleMania 26, 27. I wouldn't be going to WrestleMania 28 with Luke. I wouldn't have any of these memories of this great thing you call professional wrestling if it wasn't for Jeff Hardy. I'd already kind of stopped watching wrestling within the first year. And then I saw Jeff, and he kept me hooked. I watched Jeff, and I bought my first ever eBay purchase, which is the Hardy Boys Leap of Faith and the Lita It Just Feels Right VHSs. I purchased my first ever WrestleMania tape, which is WrestleMania 16. Bought WrestleMania 17 and 18. I have King of the Rings. I have Rebellions. I have Insurrections. All these pay-per-views just because Jeff was a part of them. If he had a match, I'd spend money to buy it because, you know, I thought I'd missed so much of his career in his early years because I didn't get to watch it every single week because I didn't know what channels and I was young. I was 7 years old. And I'm 19 now. And I've been watching this guy for 12 years. And a lot of people can understand because a lot of these guys have met their favorite wrestlers. I know frickin' Yaya had met Ultimate Warrior and it meant so much to him. He can understand how I feel with getting to do this. I've waited so long, and I've came so close on many occasions. I saw Jeff for the first time. I went to Lafayette and watched Raw, where it was headlined by HBK versus Edge in a street fight. And got to see Jeff Hardy there. Got to see Jeff Hardy again in Monroe, Louisiana at a house shows whenever I first got to touch him and actually get to see him up close and personal. But this event, letting me get to meet him face to face, was simply amazing. And I was in line, and I got to walk up and shake his hand, and I looked at him, I said, man, I said, 12 years I've waited for this. And he said, 12 years? He's like, really, man? He's like, wow. He's like, thank you so much for being a fan for such a long time. And I said, I was like, man, I was like, just thank you for, you know, everything. And he said, you know, he's like, you know, 12 is my favorite number. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. He was like, that's cool. And I was like, yeah. And he asked me if I've ever been to a TNA event before, and I told him I'd been to a few of them, and I've seen him in WWE a few times too, and shook my hand, told me it was a pleasure to meet me, and just everything I could have asked for. He's so laid back and so cool to talk to. Sit there and had a cool conversation with him. I wasn't nervous about what I was going to say because it just kind of flew right out. You know, I knew what I wanted to say. I wanted to get it across that I was a fan of his, and how big of a fan I was. You know, got to get next to him and take the picture, which I'll post at the end of the video. Classic Hardy pose, you know, doing the Hardy sign. And like I said, man, I have watched this man for 12 years, and without watching Jeff Hardy, I would have never loved the sport of professional wrestling like I do. And he gets a bad rap for all the problems he's had. And, you know, I can't say that I haven't been let down by him a few times myself, but he always overcomes the problems. He always comes back, and he comes back strong. You know, he was that little guy, that part of a tag team back in 1999, the Hardy Boys. You know, all the way reaching out from WrestleMania 18, the Hardy Boys, the Hardy Boys, the Hardy Boys. Nobody ever thought they were going to become singles competitors. And then, they break up as a team. In the year 2003, Jeff Hardy was a singles competitor having a ladder match against The Undertaker for the Undisputed Championship, and one of the best ladder matches I've ever seen. True underdog match right there, and almost coming out on top. And whenever he left the WWE in 2003, I'd lost all hope. I was like, it's done. I was like, he'll never win the championship. And then he shows up in TNA in 2004, has a good run there, didn't win the world title there either. I was like, damn. I was like, as a fan, I was trying to grab on. I was like, come on, man. He's one of those guys that I got behind so much. And if you only knew how much merchandise I have, anything from necklaces to books to every season of The Hardy Show to tons of action figures to magazines to... I have every single thing you could ask for as a Jeff Hardy fan and merchandise, but I was just that guy. I grasped onto him. I mean, I have memories of me and one of my best friends, ages 10, jumping off of my couches and swanton bombs onto pillows. I have all these memories, and I have all these things. I was a little kid, and I was like, watching WrestleMania 16, I was like, man, Jeff Hardy, if I could only one day be able to meet him. I was like, one day, maybe in some world would I be able to meet him. And really, I've been a fan of him for more than half of my life. I've been a fan of Jeff Hardy longer than I have been not a fan of Jeff Hardy in my life. So really, it was the ultimate experience. I mean, it's just one of those things you can't really put into words, Sitting there for so long, just sitting there and thinking his career was over after his first WWE run, and then he left TNA, and I was like, damn, Jeff's not going to wrestle anymore, I'll never get to meet him, ever. I'll never, ever get to meet Jeff Hardy. And then he returns to the WWE, and I get to see him in Lafayette and see him in Monroe, and I was like, yes, I finally got that thrill. I finally got to see my favorite wrestler in action. But then I was like, it's going to be so hard to meet him at a WWE event. Like, it's so hard to meet certain people at WWE events. And then his career ended with WWE, and I had no idea he was going to go back to TNA. And, that's one thing that I will say for TNA is that fan-friendly atmosphere that they provide every single show. Without TNA and without Impact Wrestling, my dreams would have never been able to come true. So, much appreciation sent out to them. But, after all these ups and downs and not thinking I'll ever meet him, and then finally finding out about a month ago, after meeting CM Punk, which is my second favorite wrestler, I find out that I will finally, for the first time, get to meet Jeff Hardy. And at age 19, after starting at age 7, at age 19, I finally get to meet him. And it's unexplainable, really, the feeling. A lot of people might not have idols or might not have heroes. And, my heroes are my parents, but, they make all this possible. But hero in a way to where, you look up to somebody who isn't a family member. It was always Jeff Hardy ever since I was 7 years old, man. I have a picture that I'm actually going to put in the video of me dressed up as Jeff Hardy as in Halloween with the armbands I had ordered off eBay at 12 or something. And either way, getting to take that picture with him, even though I looked stupid in the picture, I made a weird face, I don't know why, but taking the picture with him and everything. I'll show you the autographs real quick again. This is the action figure that will never be open. This is the only action figure that I have boxed that will never be open, ever. I'll never open an action figure. This is how it's going to stay. Great. Also, I got him to sign in the into the program I'd purchased. Let me open that real quick and show you. Right here. Jeff Hardy right there, big signature. And then also, and this is going to be the second time I try to show this in video, so hopefully you can see it. I was able to get him to sign this banner they were selling at the show for $10. And this is a huge banner. Like, look at this. That is a huge banner, and it was all folded up, so I really didn't know where he was going to sign it. And he actually signed right on his, like where his chest is right there, as you can see, right there. So he actually signed in a really cool spot. So, you know, I was so worried I wasn't going to have something good for him to sign, even though I have so much of this memorabilia and so much of this merchandise. I was like, what's going to be the perfect thing? And TNA provided me with enough things to get signed that are just amazing. And, but honestly, Extreme Nick 09 would not exist on YouTube. Extreme Nick 09 or Nick Adams, Nicholas Claude Adams, would not exist in the wrestling world if it wasn't for Jeff Hardy. So I owe every single bit of gratitude and every single bit of love for this business to Jeff Hardy. He has made all that possible. You know, he made WrestleMania 26, 27 possible. He wasn't even there, but he made my love for wrestling grow ever since 1999, and I was hooked. Just everything about the guy. I mean, he's so nice in person, and I was hoping that he would be. I met Shannon Moore, and, you know, he was kind of a dick, and, you know, I was hoping Jeff would be nice, and Jeff was completely laid back, I mean, just nicest guy you ever meet, man. And, totally marked out after I sat back down. I went back and I sat down, and it kind of all went to me at one time. I started thinking of, like, all the I actually have a video on YouTube of me and another channel that my friend has of me doing a swanton off the top of a, not really a swanton, more of along the lines of a falling sideways front flip off of a storage building into a box that I did in some backyard wrestling stuff. You know, I started thinking of all these things and me trying to be like him, and me having the armbands and the painted fingernails for Halloween, and me having all these different things and all these different memories of maybe this will never happen. Honestly, I cried the day that he won the WWE Championship at Armageddon. I had rented 2 or 3 pay-per-views in a row, and I wasn't able, and I, you know, thought it wasn't going to happen, so I didn't rent Armageddon. And I ended up missing him win the championship that night, but I got a text message from the WWE mobile alerts that told me he did, and I actually teared up, you know. It's a very emotional thing whenever, you know, he finally, after all that just downward and all that hate that people kept dishing out because of his mistakes, and, you know, he finally reached what he had been trying to reach. He achieved his dream, and now he's helped me achieve mine. And, like I said, thank you to my parents and everybody else that's helped me achieve this. And, either way, I sat down after I got the autographs in my chair, and, you know, eyes watered again, and, my eyes started watering. I was sitting there just like, finally, you know, I came so long, and I've went through all this, you know, people aren't really, it's just everything, you know, all this, I have like 17 or 18 shirts of this guy, I have everything you can get. I just was missing an autograph in a experience. I was going to buy autographs off eBay, but I always told myself that I would not be content. I've never bought an autograph of Jeff Hardy off eBay. I've never cared to. I've come close, and then I was like, it's just not going to be the same unless I meet him. And I just always figured, and I kind of, you know, was okay with it, I guess. I was like, you know what, I'll never meet him. And then TNA comes to Vicksburg under an hour away from my house, and I get to meet my hero. So just letting everybody know, don't give up. You know, it will happen one day maybe. And really cool. I'm going to stop being a little girl about the whole entire situation, and I'll post the pictures at the end of the video. And but honestly, over WrestleMania 26, over WrestleMania 27, over meeting CM Punk, The Big Show, Nikita Koloff, Lex Luger, The Great Khali, Motor City Machine Guns, Kurt Angle, Mick Foley, after meeting all these guys, meeting Jeff Hardy tonight for the few seconds that I got to is put on top of my list. I get to mark it off. In the wrestling world, I've achieved everything that I've asked for. And, next stop, Miami. So, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for being a part of this whole entire experience. And I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Hope y'all get to meet y'all's heroes and get to live the same kind of experience that I have today. So, again, this has been Extreme Nick 09. Thank you for watching.